Clarence Tillman, the pro fighter, is taller by 2. He's heavier by a few. He's older by 1, and he has a longer reach. So everything favors the professional boxer, Clarence Tillman. All right, we're set to go. Here's Lieutenant Dan Hennessy.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 4 3-minute rounds of professional heavyweight boxing. It is sponsored by The Rock. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. He enters the ring wearing red trunks with white trim. He weighed in at 135.35 kgs. He hails from New Orleans, Louisiana, USA, now residing in Auckland, New Zealand. He has 39 professional fights, 11 wins, 26 losses, 2 draws. 6 big wins coming by way of KO. Introducing Clarence Tillman. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, enters the ring wearing red trunks with white trim, weighing in at 128.45 kgs. He hails from Auckland, New Zealand. He is the figurehead of Buttabean Motivation on Facebook, promoting weight loss and a healthier lifestyle. He has 15 professional fights, 12 wins, 3 losses, 6 big wins coming by way of KO. Introducing the Brown Buttabean. Ladies and gentlemen, respectively, this is a message from David Latelli, the Brown Buttabean. I am dedicating my fight to my sister, Vicky, who has been diagnosed with terminal cancer. The doctors have given her 5 months to live. I also want to dedicate this fight to all those families fighting the same fight with their loved ones. My sister, Vicky, is the founder of the Grace Foundation Charitable Trust. They house up to 120 people at one time, some suffering mental illnesses, others coming from prisons, and others suffering from homelessness. Grace receives no funds from the government and is solely operated by Christ-loving, full-time, committed volunteers. David, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Fighters to the center ring.
So with a heavy heart, Dave Latelli, the Brown Buttabean, fights for his sister tonight. Takes a lot of courage to do this when his concentration can't be on boxing his ball.
The dressing rooms, I can't stress enough that you must fight within the rules. Listen to my commands at all times. Shake hands, go back, wait for the bell.
Tillman's been a professional fighter his whole career. Dave Latelli started off almost as a joke, and he's developed into a folk hero. He carried himself in a brash, colorful way, but he's really a terrific individual. Sponsors Mike Morton, the Mad Butcher, Burger King, and Robert Russell Rhodes, Russell Athletics.
Look out for the overhand right of Tillman. He tends to play possum a lot, use a little bit of Philly shell.
Like the back of the head.
This is probably the best, professional boxer he's fought. He's fought some really tough athletes, as Dave Latelli, but Tillman is a professional boxer. And I mentioned about his body style. He looks like he's not conditioned, but this is just the way he's fought almost his entire life. I don't remember him being much thinner than this when he was in his prime. And only a journeyman professional fighter. He had 11 victories, 26 losses, 2 draws, but different for a guy that started out, as they say, an entertainment factor in fighting corporate fights. And Dave Latelli has got himself in great shape. His Buttabean motivational is his private Facebook page is dedicated to getting people fit and being healthy through fitness.
Tillman, he knows how to just shut down a lot of shots. Doesn't deal with speed well, but he's cuffing off a lot of those shots. He's been the distance with Lucas Brown. He fought twice. Lucas Brown, of course, currently the WBA interim champion, although there's a cloud over that.
Dave, much more athletic than he was when he first started out. Has a decent left hand. He's trained hard for this fight, but up until just a few moments before the fights began, we weren't sure Dave was going to be able to pull it together because he didn't know his sister actually slipped into a coma, he told me, and he was very, very concerned that something worse might happen. But here he is showing the Buttabeaners, as he calls them, that no matter what stands in your way in life, you have to do what's right, and what's right for him tonight is to dedicate this fight to his sister. He's hit right on the chin, and down goes the Buttabean. He's pretty staggered. He get hit with a right hand. A real clean right hand by Clarence Tillman.
7, 8.
Standing 8 count. There's no 3 knockdown rule, but it's up to Paul McSherry.
Well, that was a beastly right hand, straight down the tubes. Waited until he got confidence, let him land a couple of shots, and then exploded out of that shell. Buttabean just would do well to tie up the arms now, make Paul McSherry break them up. Up until then, he was doing quite well. He was staying out of the danger zone, using some speed, and Tillman will wait for his opportunity again.
Big difference in fighting, you know, a street brawl with a great athlete, as he's fought some from New Zealand, and fighting a professional fight that knows what he's doing in there and can pull the trigger still.
You've got to remember, Tillman's been in with the likes of Lucas Brown, who can definitely bang. Fujimoto, who's ranked in the WBA, as he's pushed up against the ropes.
Well, that becomes a 10-8 round for Tillman because of Bean going down. And he's a bit gassed, and the big question is, what can he do now? Can he recover in between rounds?
Well, emotionally pretty hard for him this week. Craig Thompson in the corner of Tillman.
John Conway with Dave Latelli.
Matt, we often see refereeing here on these Duco fight nights. Very experienced professional fighter and trainer. And the critical moment of that, the left hook and the slightly overhand right on the button, felled him like a tree.
He's been down before, but never like this.
I don't think he's been hit that hard before. And it's a big man with a big punch, Clarence Tillman.
All right, here we go, round number 2. This is scheduled for 4. This is professional boxing. Dave Latelli had a lot of corporate fights as fighting out of the character of Brown Buttabean. And as I said, when he was coming into the ring, he was kind of a folk hero here. And then he got himself in decent enough shape to fight professionally. And that's what he's been trying to do for the past couple of years. And he's been reasonably successful, but his most success is just getting people fit.
Nice little combination there. Caught him with a cuffing overhand right after coming upstairs from the body. Tillman's not the most agile, but he's very patient. He's been using the left hook well, Latelli. Tillman, though, he's barely breathing.
Whoa, couple of sides back and forth from these guys, taunting each other.
The Big Mac and the quarter pounder speaking.
Paul McSherry says, keep your heads up, guys.
Nice little tagging left hook, but there's not a lot on it. And Tillman's been hit by some very big punches over the years.
Got him with kind of the wrist that time as Tillman was turning away from him. The right hand was there, and if the Buttabean could see it, he could nail him, and he just hit him with it. But no problems for Clarence Tillman gobbling that up.
Yeah, he's landing the overhand right. Tillman, though, he's taken some big shots.
But he's waiting for his shot now, again, Mike, as we saw in the first round, where he dropped the Brown Buttabean. Bean's doing very well right now, landing some shots. They're kind of wild in a lot of ways, and they're not very clean, but at least he's landing more than what Tillman is doing. But one punch and that he gets dropped can change that.
Working well with his left hand, far better than I had in a lot of fights. There's Tillman with a left hook that was loaded on a time machine. Buttabean's just got to be careful not to stay in the kill zone. He's a bit quicker. He'll undoubtedly be fitter, but he's walking short to his left, and that's into the power hitting zone, the swing zone of Clarence Tillman.
Tillman waiting to let his right hand go as Dave throws wild shots at him as Tillman bends over. Tillman, when he bends over, will come back up and sometimes throws that right hand, and that's the way he caught Latelli, the Brown Buttabean, in the last round. Is the Bean punishing the body, whacks him with the right hand that crosses the nose, spins the head of big Clarence.
It's good work if Latelli just keeps on punching the right glove of Tillman. Just tap it, touch it, get it busy. That'll stop that counter.
Caught him with a good left hook, and you saw the reaction of Clarence Tillman. Pounded him on top of the head. He's done enough to win this round, has Dave, but he's got to win another one just to be even because he got knocked down in that first round. Now he hit him on top of the head, and McSherry tells him, hey, can't do that. That's an illegal punch.
Well, just as Paul McSherry was telling Tillman to get the head up, the brown Buttabean decided to give him a reminder of his own. Well, Colonel Buttabean ran all the gauntlet in that round, threw all the punches. Not particularly pretty, but did enough to win that round, but he will still be a round behind.
Yeah, he's a round behind. To get caught up, he's got to win the third, and then it's, you know, Katie bar the door for the fourth round. But remember, you're looking at a professional fighter, and now you're looking at a guy who was a corporate fighter that decided to turn professional. He was the genius of Duco's David Higgins. As we watch the replays here, there's the gestures back and forth.
We shall call that equipment adjustment. There was the right hand, and he landed a couple of them. Dave Latelli, he was very busy, used his left hand more than I've seen him, and there was the little cuff on the back of the head right at the end of that second round.
But in fairness to the referee, Paul McSherry, he's told both guys, keep your heads up, keep those heads up. Here we go, round number 3. Dave Latelli is the guy they're known as the brown Buttabean here in New Zealand. Clarence Tillman is a name you know if you follow boxing. He's been a heavyweight fighter for a long time. Been in with some decent guys. Got that strange body build, even though he's only a year older than the brown Buttabean.
I'd like to see him just double up on his right hand, Tillman. Straight right hand and then an overhand right. Just a fast initial right hand or a little long uppercut.
Well, you mentioned it before, Mike, that he's a guy that looks for one shot, and it worked for him in the first round. I mean, the Bean was going around like this and boxing decently and controlling the distance, and he's still doing that well. Now he used a backhand, and he can't use that, and right on him is Paul McSherry.
There's a straight right hand, and Tillman now starting to open up, just as Latelli's on the ropes, and Latelli just needs to be cautious now.
Yeah, he's got to get out of there because Tillman's hitting him with everything right now. He comes out with a few shoe-shine punches, does the Buttabean, but the Buttabean took the worst of that. He's got to win this round as the Bean, or it's going to be very difficult to lose this fight without dropping and knocking out Clarence Tillman.
Nice straight right hand from Tillman. Now Tillman's against the ropes, but again, there's just not a lot of acid on those shots. Tillman doesn't look like he's breathing over much. He's trying to sucker Latelli in.
Latelli backhands him again, and he's done that. We've seen it many times before. He doesn't realize it's an illegal punch. He needs to line up that right-hand bazooka, as Clarence Tillman is doing a lot of gesturing here against the guy. Oh, caught him with a good uppercut.
And he's been timing that. Took him about a minute just to realize that the gap's there. But the single shot again, I mean, if he'd strung on the left hook after it, might have done him some good.
Except for that flurry and that uppercut, Tillman hasn't done a lot in this round. Dave has been the aggressor, and he survived the worst shots. And now, if he outworks him in this last minute, possibly he can still win this round. Tillman trying to pull that head down and come banging with that uppercut. Sucker this guy into the kill zone. You know, he just fights very sparingly, and when he does, he can be dangerous.
Latelli, definitely not the hardest puncher, but he's landing clean shots, and that was a slapping left hook.
He's not the hardest puncher against a guy this size, that's for sure. And Tillman has a lot on his, but he doesn't throw many. Oh, I caught him with the uppercut again. That might be enough to give him the round because, you know, in scoring in professional boxing, it's how much damage has been done.
Still very much the hurt game, and the big shots, and there's another one from Tillman. The only one who's landed heavy clubbing shots has been Tillman.
You know, I want so badly to give it to the Buttabean, but I got to give it to Tillman because the 3 damaging blows were landed by Tillman in that round.
And a little bit of jiggle in the ring.
These are usually the things that the Buttabean does, but he's in not the mood for that. We got a great crowd, a sellout here at the Vodafone Event Center. Great job by everybody at Duco Events, from the CEO, Martin Sneddon, to Dean Lonergan, and here's the replay.
And Tillman started off the round really looking to land some acid. Landed a cuffing right hand. He stalked him to the ropes, and there was that uppercut, and that great work from our cameraman here. And rattled the jaw right up into the top of the cranium. A real cranium cracker from Clarence Tillman.
By the way, Jeff Horn is fighting in a couple of weeks over in Brisbane. We'll be over there. I'm sure that'll be carried on Fox Network. Look forward to Jeff's fight. One of my favorite guys in the boxing world. So here we go with round number 4. And Buttabean really needs to take him out if he's going to win this fight now.
Tillman thinks he can find a home for the uppercut. Sledgehammer jab now. Buttabean just working away, chopping away at the body.
As hard as he's working, Mike, you know, his punches just aren't heavy enough to move this big guy.
He needs an 8 count, I think, to draw the fight. That was a slapping right hand on the ear of Tillman, who just adjusts himself.
See if he can drop him. There's a big right hand by Tillman again. Follows up with a left hook. Telly's on the inside. You know, he does his amateur things like cuffing him with both hands like that. You can get away with that with amateur fighters, but you can't get away with it with professionals because, you know, it has no effect on them.
Yeah.
There's a chopping right hand, and then he uses his wrist of the backhand again. He's been warned a couple of times about that. Could be disqualified, but that's just a bad habit that he's in.
Well, he really needs an 8 count. A nice left hook again. He's used that punch well. Something we haven't seen a lot in his arsenal. Clarence Tillman just blocking up. He's well, he's got the footwork of a slow-moving Tyrannosaur, but when he lands a shot, it has tremendous power. Minute 30 to go. Buttabean really needs to do something special, I suspect.
This guy just stands flat-footed, does Clarence Tillman, just waiting to get his 10 or 15 second flurry that he can pull himself together for. Otherwise, the Buttabean has just outworked him in this round, but winning this round I don't think is going to be enough because I think that the damage that Clarence did to him in the last round has got him out in front. If he could drop him, it's a different kettle of fish. But Tillman is not hurt. That's the difference.
Yeah, Tillman is awkward. It certainly looks ugly. He landed a left hook coming out of that odd-looking shell. Tries to land the straight right hand.
Come on, boys, not long
At the moment, Latelli's just outworking him.
Head up, Clarence.
Yeah, and that'll be enough to win this round, unless, of course, Clarence does what he did in the first round, and then he had that nice flurry in the third round. Catches him with a left hook. There's a straight right hand, which puts Dave back. Caught him on the chin again. And now all of a sudden, all the work that Dave has done goes out the door. The Buttabean is working as hard as he can.
Well, Buttabean, he's shown plenty of heart here, motivated by his terminally ill sister. Those are big shots that he's taken right on the button.
And you know that his arms are so heavy right now.
There you go.
He took a couple of heavy blows, but he's really outworked Tillman with the exception of the couple of shots that he got nailed with. He can still give the Brown Buttabean the 4th round, I believe. But the 3rd, if the judges saw it the way we did and counted the 3 heavy blows, then Tillman wins the fight. If they gave it to the Buttabean, then he's done enough to win the fight, or close enough to be a draw.
Yeah,
I'm leaving this one in the judges' hands.
Yeah, I tend to favour the heavier, cleaner shots landed that visibly rocked Buttabean, but he did a lot of work, pit-a-pat work over the course of that 4th round. Hard one for the judges to separate. And the other round that was hard for the judges to separate too would have been the 3rd round where Tillman landed a couple of big uppercuts and an overhand right. Depend which style the judges favour.
Well, ordinarily, you know, you said it, it's the hurt business, and he hurt him 3 times in that 3rd round where Dave totally outworked him. I've seen judges go both ways or either way on this, and you really, when you sit down with professional judges and you discuss it with them, nobody's wrong. So it depends on how the particular judges that saw that 3rd round will determine the outcome of the fight. To recap, Buttabean was down after plenty of shoe-shine punches in the 1st round. He get hit with a big right hand and went down in the 1st round. And then there was a bit of an assault on him in the 3rd round, but it only lasted about 15 seconds. And the rest of the time, he just outworked him.
And that straight right on the button. But his eyes clear, Buttabean, plenty of intent. Beautiful camera work once again. Fully extended right hand, turning the knuckle over. Technically perfect. And Clarence Tillman gutturally screaming with that shot as well.
I want to thank Michelle Simard from Sky Sports and the Duco staff, Joe Sullivan, Chanel Colcott, Chrissy V, and Nikki Wall for all their help and helping us get ready. Okay, it looks like the lieutenant is ready, so we'll toss it up to Lieutenant Dan Hennessy for the official particulars.
Fighters to the center ring, please. Ladies and gentlemen, after 4 rounds of professional heavyweight boxing action, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. All 3 judges scored this competition 38-37 for your winner by unanimous points. Fighting out of the blue corner, the Brown Buttabean!
Talking to Brown Buttabean, Dave, it was a tough one to score. The bigger punches versus a number of punches from yourself. What was the plan? What is the strategy going into this buyout?
Yeah, the plan was to try not to break the rules too much. It's the first kind of proper boxer I've fought. So I was happy with that. He punches hard, but my fitness come over the top of him.
Well, that's right. I mean, it's a big step up. This was his 40th fight. Until then, you've only been fighting debutants or someone who's had 1 or 2 fights. Where to now for Brown Buttabean?
Look, I keep boxing. Boxing's a vehicle for me to keep motivating people. I've got a Buttabean motivation group. I've got a fitness app coming out soon, and we're on Your Kiwi Living Show. One of the best episodes yet I've heard. So look, it's all about motivating people for me and changing lives, and that's what we're doing. And all the people that booed me at the beginning, you know, you need to have a good look at yourself in the mirror.
Now, motivation is huge, and you've had some big motivations come into this, and maybe you want to say a few words to a special someone.
Yeah, look, I'd just like to, first of all, thank my sponsors. It's hard for me to get sponsors. Mike Morton from the Mad Butcher, Russell Rhodes, Russell Athletic. Look out for my new range coming out called King Range in January. And also Tarmok Decorators and Russell Rhodes, everyone. And this fight is dedicated to my sister. You know, she is so strong. And I've been through hell and back. You know, and only I don't know how she's getting through, but she's been diagnosed with 5 months to live. So everyone out there, make the most of life. Never, you don't know what's happening tomorrow.
Great words from the Brown Buttabean. Your winner, the Brown